And we're back. So we'll only have about 20 minutes or so it might be a little rush. I'm going to have to gloss over some of these items. So we're going to do the best that we can. All right. So here we're looking at 2.5. Oh, that reminds me. We need to have a quick discussion. So the schedule of events remaining for the quarter. This Friday is exam 3 over the first half of chapter 2. Then we have next week. Next week is the final on Wednesday over chapters 1 and 2, right? After Wednesday, on that Friday, it's going to be a flex day. I just got to remember the thing that we discussed. So if you miss an exam for any reason, you can make up that exam on that Friday. I'll try to have something for the rest of the class because I know we have to be here. So I'll just try to make it a little bit light that day, super light. So just come in and kind of relax. But if you need to make up a missed exam, no retakes, just any missed exam, you can make it up on that Friday after the final. That's next Friday. Is there a question? Is it okay? Pardon? Great. Yeah, you probably want to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on your notifications. When I go live, a lot of times, like when I went live this past weekend, there were extra credit opportunities for. Yeah, you were there, right? Yeah. So I can see who's logged in. I usually leave instructions on how to get the extra credit for that session. So you just want to be sure when you get those notifications, just listen in and just do the things I say, and then I try to make sure that you get extra credit. That's at least one way. That's not the only way. I'm kind of keeping log, and let's take exam 3, and I'll talk about another opportunity that's coming up. Yeah, just like exam 2. Yeah, same format. So exam 3, I'm not trying to trick anybody or do anything sly. Honestly, if you know my study guide, you should be okay. Just yes, mostly the exams. Mostly the exams. Uh, the main focus is the exams. I don't want you to try to focus too much on extra credit. I really, because if you give me the exams, that'll be what I need. Yeah. So most of your weight comes from the exams. That's where I want you to focus. Okay. But let's take exam 3, and there will be another opportunity that'll pop up to kind of offset some of this. Go.
You know how like you say you miss three and get 100. What if you don't miss three, you just get 100? Like, do you get extra credit for that?
That's a possibility. No, because we have to submit the grades on Moodle, and Moodle is really quirky about allowing me to do over 100%. If I were allowed to just do the grades myself, yeah, I would do that. But you know, but the best thing is at this point, if you know my study guide, you should be okay at this point. Okay, any other questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, so we don't have a lot of time, so we're gonna do the best that we can. So I got about a question per minute. So every minute the slides need to almost match that time, that rhythm. So we talked about this on the last section, the point slope form. And that's supposed to be an equal sign. Yeah, that's supposed to be an equal sign. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we discussed this last time. So we're going to keep moving. It says, write any equation on the line through this point having a slope, right? So we did one like this last time. So again, this is our x1, y1, right? We did x1, y1, and then we have the formula up above. So we have the slope is -3. What's our x1? And what's our y1? We just plug those in, and then let's see. So we identify x1, y1, and m. We plug them into the formula. Notice when we introduce the negative value, notice the use of the parentheses. The double negative becomes positive. That takes practice. That usually trips students up. Okay, so that takes practice. Whenever you have a negative, when you substitute it in, you want to put it inside a set of parentheses, and that'll help to keep track of the sign.
Oh yeah.
Okay? So then eventually we get to something like this. The form, okay, then we went on to solve for y. Ultimately, we get y equals this. So what's a good idea? You want to start with that formula you see at the top and start with, honestly, this. Well, yeah, plug it in, do it yourself, and make sure you get the same result that the example gets. You just want to verify it as much as possible. So now if we solve for y, we get this result. That's all we needed, really. So then it says write the equation of the line through this, and it says write the result in standard form of ax plus by equal to c. All right? All right. What did we do in the last example? We were given what? In the last example. We were given a point and what? A slope. So given a point and a slope, we can use the point slope formula. Can we use the point slope formula here?
No.
Why not? So can we do what? We can find the slope, so we can actually still start at the point slope. You don't have to start there. That's just what's recommended. I have some students that are pretty decent at starting at the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. But in this one, you'd have to find the b. This one, you definitely want to start at the point slope form. Right? Is that okay? So just start at the point slope. Okay, so then usually again what I do, automatically I kind of go x1, y1, x2, y2. You see here with the point slope form. So then we've used the slope formula to find the slope. And then once we have the slope, plug in, choose any point and the point slope formula, and we should be able to get there. So we found the slope. Sorry. We can use either point to plug in. So now we have a slope and a point. Now we just plug those into the point slope formula. And then we're back to what we were doing before. So the standard form, let me see. So when we plugged it in, so notice in that second line where we have the negative 6 over 5, how do we get rid of fractions? What do we do to both sides in order to get rid of fractions? By the LCD, least common denominator.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. With fractions, we multiply the left and the right by the LCD, and it'll cancel out the fractions. So that's why I didn't multiply both sides by 5 here. It takes practice as well, because it just trips students up typically. But then once you get to that second to last line, you should be able to get all the way. Typically, the way we write this, we want the x to be on the left, and the x needs to be positive. Or non-negative, should I say. Okay, anyway. Yeah, because like we could have moved the y to the right and the 18 to the left, but then x would have been negative. We want to write it so the x is positive. Is that okay? So instead of subtracting the 5y, what we did was add the 6x to both sides. Okay? So we're just keeping the x positive. Okay, I'm going to let that be for now. So we know the slope-intercept form. What's the slope-intercept form? Okay, the way y'all responded there is how, if y'all could respond like that for every question that asks, that would be fantastic. Because like, you see how you know that one? That's how you should, that's the level you want to be at with these other questions. What's the time? Let's do about 10 minutes. I'm watching the clock. We'll do 10 minutes. So I'm going to have to skip a little bit. I feel like you can find this, so I'm going to let you do this on your own. I'm going to leave that as an exercise. Right now, right? Just later. On your own. But that's what you have to do. Like, but I can't be, like, okay, so honestly, to be proficient in mathematics, honestly, it's supposed to be about 3 or 4 hours every day. Every day. Yeah, I know. I know, it's intense. But that's really what it takes. If you don't do it at home, it's not gonna sink in. It's a different energy. Like, I know in this day and age it's technology driven and minimal patience and this kind of thing. But you gotta be practicing at home. You have to.
Yeah, that's smart, but we don't have patience. I don't even be liking to do having to get my phone and do stuff and go on a whole different app just to do stuff.
Yeah.
My mom was like, put this in your calendar. I'm like,
I gotta go all the way. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have to look at this one. Find the slope and the y-intercept. What's slope again?
Changing Y or changing X.
Okay, changing y over changing x, or the rise over the run. If we're looking at this graph, so say we start. What's the left intercept? Okay, so the x-intercept is -3. The intercept on the left. I'm a zombie and I'm kind of rushing. So on the left we have x-intercept of -3. Okay, so if we start there, if we do the rise first, do we go up or do we go down? In this case, we went down first, and then we went to the right, right? So if we go down, is that positive or negative? It's negative, and it's the right. It's positive. Right. So negative over positive is negative, right? So it has. Long story short, it has a negative slope because when we trace it left to right, it goes down. Is that okay? Find the slope. So now, if the slope is the rise over the run, how far down did we go? We went down 1, and how far to the right did we go?
3.
3. So what's the slope?
-1 over -3.
-1 over 3.
I mean,
because the 3 was positive,
yeah.
the 1 was negative.
Still, yeah, that's it.
And I think we found the x-intercept. Tell me about the y-intercept. What's the y? The y-intercept is -1. So the slope was a -1 by 3. We got the x and y intercepts. Okay, I'm watching the clock. We got about 5 minutes. Let me go forward some more. So we're asked to write an equation that defines f. If you're given a graph of a line, what equation would you use? How can you find the equation of a graph of a line? Okay, pardon? Which linear equation? I heard mx plus b. Okay. Well, if we're gonna use y equals mx plus b, what are the two main pieces of information that we need? The slope and the. Okay, so looking at this, can you tell me about the y-intercept? And what's the slope? So if you have y equals mx plus b, you have your b, you have your slope that's there. That's enough for right now. There is another way, just for the sake of time and for a little bit of discovery and mystery. I'm not going to mention the other right now. That's fine for right now.
Your starter place is -1 too. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to let that be. I'm watching the clock. Okay, we mentioned this already. What does parallel mean? Two lines that are parallel.
They don't ever touch.
They never intersect, right? What does the word skew mean?
When it's I remember this. When everything is scattered, ain't it? Well, no, everything is skewed to the left. I mean, it's grouped to a certain. It's like on the ground.
So two lines are parallel means they have the same slope, right? They can be like this or whatever. Skew is more of a 3D concept where, say you have one line, these are still two lines that never intersect, but they're not parallel.
Really?
Yeah. So look, two lines. These are two lines that are skewed, right? They're never intersect. This one goes like this. It's like bridges, like spaghetti junction when you're driving. They never intersect, but they're also not parallel. See, because parallel lines are like this. Right? These skew lines will be something like this. They never intersect. This is in a 3D space, though. Yeah, this is a 3D space. Yeah. So I'm just throwing that out there. So skew is a 3D concept. That's like calculus. Yeah. Plotting. It is. I mean, yeah, but I'm using it in a 3D sense. I'm using it in a 3D sense. So you don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about that. Okay, so we talked about parallel. Okay, so. If two lines are parallel means they have the same what?
No.
What does perpendicular mean?
Cross.
At a 90-degree angle, so two lines cross at a 90. What happens with their slopes? They are what? So parallel lines have the same slope. What can you tell me about perpendicular lines? So perpendicular,
They have opposite slopes.
they're gonna have negative reciprocal slopes. So slopes are gonna be negative reciprocals. Long story short, if we say the first slope times the second slope, we should get a result of -1. -1, okay? Negative reciprocal, right? Let's see. Perpendicular lines, neither of which is vertical, are perpendicular if and only if their slopes have a product of -1.
Why? I never knew that.
I just found it out, I think, when I was teaching this here. Because in the past, it was always negative reciprocal. So if you have m, then the other one is going to be -1 over m. That's how I did it in the past. Now, yeah, if there are two slopes multiplied to give us -1, then the lines are perpendicular. Okay, what's the time? I am watching it. Oh, it's 1:11. You guys can't see it, though. Not on the board anymore. All right, I'm going to have to leave some of the, I'm going to have to leave the rest of this as an exercise. Let me see. Write the equation in both slope-intercept and standard form through this point and satisfies. Okay, so now if it says our line needs to go through this point 3, 5, and it needs to be parallel to this, what are they really asking us to do? Find the slope, and our slope should be what? If it's parallel, they should be the same, right? I'm going to have to leave it as an exercise because we're out of time. If anything's not clear, email me and I can make a dedicated YouTube video on any of these topics.
And that's when you use the, this is when, since they gave you only 1 point, that's when you use the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1.
So that's called point slope form because you use that when you're given a slope and a point. Even if you're given 2 points, we can still find the slope and still use the point in the slope form. Okay? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay, I'm going to have to leave that as an exercise. I'm trying to see if there's anything that jumps out and catches my attention. Yeah, this won't be on this exam. This is for the final. Okay? And I would say just anticipate maybe an even distribution of each section. So we did like four groups, right? So just a little bit from each group. Okay? Okay, let me see the time. I'm gonna go for like another 5 minutes. Okay, so again, you want to practice all these examples that I'm skipping over. You definitely want to practice them. If anything is not clear, email me. Okay, reach out. You can read these on your own. Yeah, I think we're out of time. Yeah, I don't know what's going on out here. But I think I'm out of time. I'm gonna have to leave this and let you do it on your own. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. Okay, I wanted to get to a blank page. Okay, so exam is this Friday over the first half of chapter 2. I'll load that in just a moment. This Friday over the first half of chapter 2. The final is just chapters 1 and 2. If you know my old study guides, you should be okay for the final. I can't think of anything else. Any other questions, comments, or concerns before we part? Okay, good luck, everybody. Okay, and from one beautiful mind to another, enjoy the rest of your day.